Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? Matt Jarbo here, $3 Theater. And last night was the Oscars, of course. There's the Will Smith thing. That's the big deal. That's the big subject of the night. But one thing that we touched upon last night a couple times with the Hollywood After Dark stream was Zack Snyder and the 2 honorary Oscars that he won last night. Right now, that's definitely something worth talking about. So I wanted to just kind of give my thoughts on it, because oftentimes when we go into these 2-hour live streams, a lot of stuff gets kind of, fragmented and put out there. And people have been asking my thoughts on it. Because look, I've been open about it. As much as I love the Snyder Cut, I don't think it's going to continue with Discovery. Even after this honorary win, I still don't see it continuing with Discovery. There's just simply too much money that it's going to cost in order to be finished. And with the aging factor of the actors, a couple of the actors wanting out, one of the actors currently beefing with the head of the studio and the head of the company, it's definitely a situation that's not going to bode well for the long run in regards to DC. However, there is a silver lining there, just not where you might be looking at it. So let's talk about the 2 events last night. You had the Oscars fan favorite movie of the year, right? The one movie that people, got snubbed on, that, well, these fans on Twitter felt they got snubbed on, and then eventually it did move to the website. And then, of course, you had the cheer moment, the overall cheer moment that fans love the most. And in both of those cases, Zack Snyder won. The cheer moment one was the scene where Barry goes into the Speed Force in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and that beat out Spider-Man No Way Home. And The Matrix, when Neo was dodging bullets for the first time. I mean, don't get me wrong. When Barry Allen went into the Speed Force for the first time and saved the day with Zack Snyder's Justice League, not only did the visual effects team do an amazing job, Junkie XL's score was fantastic, and Ezra Miller was finally good in the performance. The whole thing worked for what it was going for. And in the context of the movie, it worked for what they were trying to do. And I like that scene quite a bit. So congratulations to Zack Snyder for that one. It did really, really, really piss off, though, film Twitter, which I thought was really fucking funny, because the highfalutin hoity-toity types that you get out of film Twitter were like, what? How did this happen? How did a whole bunch of Twitter votes equate to this? This is being said by people who have never actually engaged with the Snyder fandom. They don't know anything about it, maybe outside of a headline or two here or there. And they've never wanted to dip their toe into, look, I'll be fair, a very, very, very organized world of fans who have spent years campaigning for what they want. And when something can be campaigned for, they're going to campaign for it. So obviously makes kind of sense that they won. Now, I honestly thought that the whole thing was a gimme for Spider-Man No Way Home. That was the fan favorite, right? The overall movie that got snubbed. I thought the whole thing was simply just to prop up Spider-Man No Way Home, very similar to what the Oscars did in 2018 after Black Panther came out, when they were like, hey, why don't we do the award for most popular film? And then everyone was like, yeah, just give it to Black Panther, because we all know that's what you want to do. And they quietly retracted that. And then when they ran their list of nominations later on in the year, or I should say early 2019, Black Panther was part of the nominations for Best Picture. Now, is it the best movie of that year? No, it's not even the best Marvel movie of 2018. That, of course, is Infinity War, but the cultural significance of Black Panther makes sense in regards to what they were going for. However, in this particular case, I figured Spider-Man No Way Home kind of almost single-handedly saving the box office during the holiday season and going on to make nearly $2 billion without China, and the fact that it's massively popular and everyone out there really seems to love it. I thought that it was going to be a shoo-in, and I said that publicly, and I was wrong. And I like being wrong. I like it when I throw out my hyperbolic statements and I'm wrong, because I think it's kind of funny. But it went to Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, which I did not see happening. I'm glad that it did. And I support the fan base for getting that out there. Even when they included the website that you could go to and you could vote, not just through Twitter nominations, clearly it did not have enough. It did not have enough sway to stop the Snyder fandom, which is great. And so what does this all mean? That's really what it boils down to. Well, I see people out there saying, oh man, Discovery, take note, man. Zack Snyder won 2 honorary Oscars. The Snyderverse decimated the Oscars last night. It was the talk of the town. It's all anyone could talk about. Nothing else happened last night. Nothing else happened last night at the Oscars. Not a single other solitary event of note or merit or confusion or oddity took place last night. It was just Zack Snyder. That was just 3 hours of Zack Snyder is how people are trying to play it. We all know that's not true. I might be wrong, but I'm just going to say it. I don't think last night will equate to literally anything with Warner Brothers. Netflix, on the other hand, that one I think will actually have some impact. So let me explain. Last night, Zack Snyder did win Best Cheer Moment, right, for Zack Snyder's Justice League. And then he won the other honorary one, which aren't real Oscars, by the way. They're just like, it's like a participation trophy. But anyway, like he won those. And I saw people legitimately trying to argue that as a result of this, it's going to make Toby Emmerich cry. Toby Emmerich, is crying every time Zack Snyder won last night. He was just sobbing, like Will Smith accepting the award, just sobbing, just crying. Warner Brothers ended up taking home 7 Oscars last night, 6 for Dune, pretty much all the technical awards, right? It swept the technical awards. And then it won for Best Actor, which at this point is now a little bit on the tarnished side. Just saying. They're still going to play it up, obviously, because it's good for PR and for press and whatever, but still, it's a little bit on the tarnished side. That being said, Warner Brothers, again, won 7 Oscars last night. They don't care. They're doing good. They're feasting good. They got what they wanted. This is the recognition, the prestige. This is what they wanted. This is going to make sure that Denny can, I can never say his last name, I'm so sorry, can go and do Dune 2, which they're getting ready to start filming later on this year. There's a lot that's going to happen with that. That's going to go well for the Warner Brothers Picture Group, which is currently being overseen and led by Toby Emmerich. That's all that matters from last night. Discovery, Zaslav, all those guys most likely are going to keep Emmerich in his position as a transition. And then who knows if they're going to renew everything. But again, with the Batman being #1 in the world, having pulled in over $600 million, the amount of good reviews for that, the bustling subscription for HBO Max, that's growing. The box office returning, Warner Brothers winning all these Oscars. This is what Hollywood wants. So they're going to look at the current leadership and go, okay, after the dip because of the pandemic, because of the kind of like quick actions, right? The knee-jerk reaction to the pandemic. Now things are starting to kind of even themselves back out, return to some semblance of normalcy. We're going to keep things going where we're going. That's where I think that's going to happen. But when it comes to Netflix, though, when it comes to Army of the Dead, see, Netflix, man, they care about numbers. They care about subscribers. That's legitimately like all they care about. They don't necessarily care much about social media. They've got a bunch of accounts that kind of like talk about nerd stuff, obviously, but this is what they're after. They want numbers. They want subscribers. That's it. So Zack Snyder winning for Army of the Dead, which was one of their most popular movies in 2021, even going as far as to do nearly $1 million in theaters and to solidify a partnership deal with Cinemark. That's going to be good for them extending Zack Snyder's first look contract. Remember, Zack Snyder is going to start filming Rebel Moon Part 1 and Part 2 next month. It's going to go for about 5 to 6 months. They're going to be filming through the rest of the year. After that, Planet of the Dead and whatever else they're going to be working on is going to be coming down the pipeline. Netflix at this point, because of Zack Snyder's popularity, they're going to want to keep him, which means blank checks, more projects, more exposure, more money. That's what they're going to do. So Zach, he's eating good. He's feasting heavy right now over at Netflix, and I think he'll be there for quite some time. There's been no indication that he's going to leave Netflix and go back to Warner Brothers. Not a single semblance of indication. I know people out there are going to want to argue otherwise, but the reality of it is, it's like, it doesn't mean anything. But it's all about Netflix at this point in time. That's basically what it boils down to, is all of this is going to be good for him with them. And that's what I want to see, because At this point, the discourse surrounding DC films is basically up in the air. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? We don't even know what the future is going to hold. Are they going to retcon everything? Are they going to reverse course once again? We don't know. At least with Netflix, there is a foundation. At least with Netflix, there's trust in the creator, and the fan base is clearly there. So all last night did was raise Zack Snyder's elevation for Netflix. And again, let me explain. There's another factor here, okay? Netflix put up The Power of the Dog as their big awards contender for the year. It did win some BAFTAs, and it didn't win any Oscars, I think with the exception of Jane Champion winning Best Director. I always find that kind of weird. Coda won Best Picture, but not Best Director. Right? It's kind of a weird thing when that happens. I know it happens pretty frequently because Best Director is for the directing, Best Picture is for the overall producing. It's a weird thing. However, Coda won a bunch of awards last night. And Coda is the first streaming movie to win Best Picture at the Oscars. What you have to understand about that is that is a slap in the face to Netflix. Because for years, the establishment pushed back against Netflix, right? Steven Spielberg has come out, pushed back against Netflix from entering into the Oscar races. Not just the Oscars, but like award season in general. Pushed back against that. For years, Netflix spent millions of dollars lobbying in Los Angeles and around the world at these events to try to get themselves to be accepted. They opened the door for Amazon, for Apple, for Netflix, for, Disney Plus, whatever, any of these streaming services to come out and actually be able to put out a property, to put out a project that could be worthy enough of these kind of accolades. And they open the door and they don't even win the first one. They might get Best Director, and they're happy about that, don't get me wrong, but they didn't win Best Picture. And I do think that has a lot to do with Jane Champion's comments at the BAFTAs to Venus and Serena Williams, to be fair. I think that kind of like destroyed the momentum after that point. It was nothing about The Power of the Dog and all about Coda at that point in time, which is what I think happened. However, that's just my speculation. But Netflix is going to be looking again to the potentiality of like winning more awards. And Zack being honored not once, but twice for 2 films released, sure, through competing studios in 2021. What that tells you is that they're going to put their money, put their eggs behind him, because that kind of a recognition is something they can maybe find value in and maybe bank off of in the future. So the Snyder fans did a great job in driving awareness to Zack Snyder, to the Snyder Cut, to Army of the Dead, put it out there to a global audience of people who may not know about these properties. And at the same time, it elevated his level of importance with the company of which he's currently at. So thank you. No, really, thank you guys for giving us more of Netflix and Zack Snyder and effectively finally putting the coffin in the Snyderverse over there at DC. And now the Snyderverse can officially be known as Zack Snyder's original properties over at Netflix. Anyway, your thoughts, your opinions, let me know right here. See ya.